Gov's Radio. This is where you go if you want to see something or if you want to hear something funny. Coming up in just a couple minutes. This is a joke I told. What? I'm not on Gov Radio? Call the police. Call my agent.
Tony, welcome to Gov.
Hey, Joe, how are you?
I gotta pat you down though, pal.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
All right.
Got anything on you? Anything I should know?
I got nothing.
Anything weird going on? What? Alright, you go in, Tony. Good.
Thanks, Joe. Appreciate it. Thanks.
Hi, I'm Tom Kelly of The Tom Kelly Show. Yes, this is not the only time I've gotten on my knees in the back room of a comedy club.
The Knock 'em Dead Comedy Radio Show is also brought to you by Two Eagles Auto Body. For more than 25 years, Two Eagles Auto Body has been the leader in auto body repairs and customer satisfaction on Long Island. Two Eagles Auto Body handles every type of auto repair from custom applications and restorations to repairs involving insurance claims. Give Two Eagles Auto Body a call and please ask for John Rossi at 516-328-2527. That's 516-328-2527.
Hey, how do you say there, people? It's Johnny Brennan, creator of the Jerky Boys, also of Fox TV's Family Guy fame. I just want to let you know you're listening to Tony on the Knock 'em Dead Radio Show. They're gonna keep knocking 'em dead, so keep listening, you wacky sons of bitch. Right there. Over and out there, sweet Charlie.
Long time no see, man. Hey, man, I miss you guys, man, at Knock 'em Dead Comedy Radio.
I just want to say thanks for making my millennium. Oh my gosh, wow. It's a love fest.
Yeah, you heard that story.
Yeah.
So I guess, should I tell it again?
Oh, yeah, if you want. I mean, yeah.
You guys are into comedy. Does it really help when somebody gives the punchline?
Okay, bear with me a second. I'm just getting everything set up. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Knock 'em Dead Comedy Show. We have a very special show in store for you today. We are here on Gov's Comedy Club podcast, the Facebook page, the YouTube channel. Frank is here. Jeff is here. And we're going to get right into this. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a very special guest with us today. Let's see. The Lost Weekend of Photography of May Pang is what we're promoting today, and there's going to be a great gallery show in Sag Harbor in August. But she is here to tell you all about it herself. Ladies and gentlemen, the one and only May Pang is here, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning, May Pang. Thank you so much for joining us today. We can hear you perfectly. Can you hear us? Okay. Yes. Yeah. We were still setting up and getting us. Well, we're going to make it up to you now. We're going to make it.
Foul language, May.
Right. But we really are. We're thrilled that you're here today, and we really appreciate your time with us. Yes, you're definitely dealing with some Beetle geeks today, which I'm sure you're probably used to, right? You must deal with a lot of these people who feel like they freaking knew these guys, right? Yeah, right. Is that true? Like, I can't stand going to a McCartney concert and seeing some guy in a Sgt. Pepper outfit. I hate that stuff. So I can only imagine what you go through. Mm-hmm. Right. Right. Loving John. Right.
So,
yeah.
I mean, if they see it on the internet, it might not be true.
That's right. Right. But I tried. I'm telling you right now, May Pang, I tried. Because I don't know if you. I mean, you're between the books and the art galleries. I mean, you're talking about. The documentary was fantastic.
Absolutely awesome.
Absolutely. And all right, and I'll take the segue. I'll go with it. I did not know and we were talking before you joined us. The three of us didn't know. You said in the documentary that you and John kind of continued, talking. Once in a while. Well, a little bit more than talking. Yeah, a little, reminiscing about your.
Yeah.
But was that new information for the documentary, or was that out already? Oh, okay, that was the bombshell. All right. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice. Right. Everybody thinks that Yoko told you to go and you went, which is not really how it happened. Right. Right. Mm-hmm. Sure. Mm-hmm. Right. Yes. Which you also touch upon in the documentary.
I thought it was great how I didn't realize how instrumental you were in getting him and Julian, in a sense, back together.
Wow.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah.
I bet. Which I'm sure. I mean, I know you didn't have children at the time, but you do have 2 kids of your own. So I'm sure it's kind of weird great, but weird that you realized that at the time. But I'm sure even later on, once you had your own kids, you're probably thinking, you probably pat yourself on the back a little bit. Right. Right.
Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Right. But now, when Julian would call, you would have to go through Yoko to see if it was okay for him to talk to John. Yeah. Right. Right. Yeah, I could imagine that you probably felt like you were in a hard spot with that. Yeah. 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 Yeah, that's it's almost it's kind of hurtful. You feel for Julian being such a young age at that point, and him being denied access to his dad. Yeah. And, yeah, and it's great you still have a great relationship with him to this day, which I think is awesome. Yep.
Years. Well, that's because we had this little thing called pandemic. No one was so,
Just a little thing, little
just
bump
a
in the
little
road.
So I didn't see anybody actually for 5 years.
Yeah.
Right.
But now you're flying all over the place with this art gallery. You are constantly moving somewhere. Every time I see you on Facebook, you're in this airport. You're heading out to here, heading out to there.
Well, I'm heading out next week. Again, I mean, you know what it is? I've been given an opportunity. Scott Siegelbaum, who has Rock Art Show, said he came to me, years ago and said, I think we should, exhibit your photos. Now, these things have been under my bed. They've been lost, found, people stolen some stuff, things got lost. I said, nobody's going to care about these. He said, you'll be surprised. I said, forget about it. As I say, forget about it.
Yeah.
But in the end, it took him 6 years to finally reach me and for me to agree to doing something. And we're on the road. And I'm glad when people come in, they see this other side of John that nobody sees. That no one saw back then, and everybody heard these rumors that he was drunk, down and out, and everything, because that's the storyline that everybody likes to put out, and that's not the way it happened.
Right.
It's a weekly
when you're out
rumbles.
with your friends, You get, you know, the one person that gets the most, what was it, the news, is the guy named John Lennon, not Harry Nilsson.
Right.
So that's what happened. Although it was Harry that I used to fight with Harry, stop it, and it didn't work, obviously.
Yeah, Harry was the instigator, right? Pretty much.
All the time. I can say for almost everyone. You know, I used to say to some of the girlfriends and wives of other musicians, I said, "Oh, Harry's coming by," and you see them going, "Oh no!" and we all loved him. That was the whole weird part. We all loved him. He had a beautiful voice.
Yeah.
But when it came out to "Let's go party," that's when everybody went,
Yeah.
"Oh no!"
He's been Harry Nilsson's kind of, in my opinion, kind of been forgotten. You know, you don't hear a lot about him anymore, and his music was just fantastic. But does that, and you talk about it in your documentary, growing up a big rock and roll, you know, music fan. But so, can you listen to somebody like Harry Nilsson? Are you able to separate, say, the personal,
the two? Absolutely.
You can. Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, because his voice, but it does bring back, depending on the song,
right.
It brings back the memories of like doing the Pussycats album.
Right.
And I'm like, okay, you know, here I am. I remember certain minutes in there. I remember getting stuck, you know, if you remember in the Pussycats album, there's a song called "Oh Forgotten Soldier."
Sure.
And you could hear his raspy voice, and it was just creaking all the time.
Right.
And I just sort of said, ay, ay, ay.
Yeah.
I got stuck. I got stuck in the studio while he was doing his vocals. I was upstairs and I went, oh no, they started. I can't get out. So I was sitting there listening to it and saying, oh my God, I don't know if I could deal here. And the minute he stopped, I ran out the door because it was just so painful to listen to that one. That's one of the reasons why John brought him back to New York. He was always out.
Right, and that was the album where Harry's voice did kind of break, and it never recovered ever for the rest of his life.
He just wouldn't stop. He was so nervous that John was the producer. He wanted to do good, but John said in the daytime, John said, you got to go get yourself fixed up. So he sent him to what was an acupuncturist in the day, and lo and behold, he went every morning that he was supposed to go. But at night, there was all these other guys, and he was out partying. We went out a couple of times, but John says, this isn't for me. I'm going to stay home. And there was, you know, you had Ringo, you had Keith Moon,
yeah.
A few other people out there. So Harry was not alone. He just went out and partied.
That's the thing Joe also always used to say. Like, you know, one of the worst things that ever happened to him was Keith Moon took a big liking to him because they were just so crazy.
Well, insane. You know, everybody don't realize, but Harry's best friend was Ringo.
Right.
Yeah.
They were really the two. It's not so much. John was the visitor.
Right.
He just happened to be the new kid in town.
Right. All right. So here's the big question. Then you talk about, you know, how hard it was to listen to Harry. But let's put it all on the table here, May Pang. What's harder to listen to, Harry Nilsson at that point or Yoko Ono music?
Well, you put it that way. I've been in the studio for both of them.
You don't have to answer that. We're just being stupid.
I'm not going to answer it.
That is quite all right. That's okay.
I used to love watching because Clapton has played with Lennon and Yoko at times. Every single time he's back there playing, and as soon as she starts in with the wailing, he would laugh right there on stage as he's playing.
Clapton,
he would laugh his ass off, and that's exactly how I felt. Like I laugh. I laugh so hard.
Well, I mean, the one that really has been everybody's been on. They all ask about is the Chuck Berry on the Mike Douglas one.
Yes.
The look on his face is priceless.
I mean, you know.
Let's ask you this: what was your because you spent, you know, before, you know, you were with John on the Lost Weekend, so to speak, but, you know, you were their assistant. What was your reaction the first time you heard her music?
I was already aware because I was in the office working.
Right. Okay.
And it's like it was interesting, and I kept thinking, all right, you know, is there something else to this? I mean, where does it go? And I didn't understand avant-garde music at the time because call avant-garde. So it was like her films. I had to learn all about this. I just took it in, I said, okay, that's her style. It's not my cup of tea.
Right.
That's how I looked at it. Although there was a couple of songs, here's one for you, and not many people know this because it's not written too many. I had to tell. Dennis Ferrante was an assistant engineer at the time.
Okay.
And she was doing her album, Approximately Infinite Universe.
Right.
And there's a song on there where she is actually singing, which isn't so bad. And I keep telling people and they don't want to hear it, but she sings, Right. There's a song called I Want My Love to Rest Tonight. And we spent the whole evening where John was trying to sing in sync with her, right? They were just trying to do it. And John couldn't do it. But Dennis, who had that same range as John, stepped in. They said, why don't Dennis? It'd been hours and we couldn't get John to do it. We got Dennis to come in, and it was actually Dennis who that's his voice. And people think it's John.
Oh,
because
wow.
it's so similar. But it's actually Dennis that sang, because John couldn't do it.
Interesting. Interesting.
Well,
the reason I remember, I don't drink, I don't take drugs. I mean, it was all new to me. I was taking it all in,
Yeah.
That must have been tough for you to, deal with, especially when you guys were in LA with Harry and all those crazy guys. For someone who that wasn't partaking, and I'm the same way. I don't drink either or do that stuff, and I've been the babysitter for my friends many times. Mm-hmm. So was that tough at times? Were there times you're like, oh, not again?
Yes.
Yeah.
Because when I'm up against Phil Spector. There's another one.
Oh, goodness
he was
gracious.
rough. We used to have fights, and he could. There was nothing he could do to bribe me, as it were.
Right.
And we went through it, and I mean, it got to the point I was arguing with him, and he actually had his bodyguard physically remove me because I was standing in the way. I didn't care.
Crazy.
I was protecting the person I cared about a lot, and for his sake and for everybody else.
Yeah.
If it was my girlfriend, anybody, I was just standing there. I said, I'm not letting this happen.
Wasn't there?
Yeah, go ahead.
No, I'm sorry. I was going to say, wasn't there an issue with Phil Spector when John was recording in the studio and Phil took out a gun?
And he shot it.
And
he actually shot the
He
gun.
shot
Yeah.
it off. Well, typical New Yorker. We're at the record plant west. This is when we're in the west.
Right.
And we went to a record plant, and we're doing playback, and we're listening to it, and all of a sudden I hear this loud bang, and everybody's like ducking.
Yeah.
Stupid me, I'm standing going, what just happened? And what's funny is that the person standing next to me also ducked, and it was Phil's mother.
Oh my goodness.
Bertha. I know not many people get a chance to meet. She was standing next to me, and I ran towards the client's lounge, the lounge that was right next to the studio.
Yeah.
And I walked in, and there's John, going, Phil, with his finger in his ear, going, you're gonna shoot me, but don't mess with me ears. I need them. And Phil's like, with this gun in his hand, up in the air.
Crazy.
And Mal Evans comes over and says, give me that. You shouldn't have this. And he goes, you can't tell me what to do. How dare you? And I said, Mal, what's just going on here? We were just horsing around. I just asked Phil to stop doing it because what he was doing was hurting me. And he stepped back and he reached into his holster. And as he pulled out the gun, it went off.
Oh my goodness.
So I said, okay. So I'm thinking, John's thinking, they're blanks. Okay, we're not thinking anymore. So everybody went back to work.
Crazy.
The next day, John and I were at this restaurant, and I look up and I go, John, I see Mal here. And Mal comes running over. He goes, I've been looking for you. He goes, we said, why? He goes, well, here's the bullet from last night. They dug it out of the ceiling.
Oh my goodness.
And we both went, what bullet? What?
Wow.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, so it was a bit harrowing. And and the things I have gone through in my life, I if I look back, it's kind of scary.
Sure.
But I've come through it, and maybe even people have no idea what went on back then.
Do you have this might be a weird question, but and not to I don't want this to come out negative about John Lennon, but were you, your life, you got married, you had kids. Did you ever is there a sense of relief, like all that drama is behind you? Because I mean, as much as you loved John Lennon, I'm not downplaying that, but but there was a lot of craziness around that.
There was a lot of craziness, but I also saw the man that nobody else saw.
Sure.
The sensitivity, the things. Yes, he and I will address this part. Yes, he was not, and he's admitted to himself, he was not a kind person to women, but that was also what, if people understood the time frame, that's what he grew up with. But the difference was, he always said, I'm just trying to change. It isn't easy. You don't switch over overnight. It's like if you were an alcoholic. He wasn't an alcoholic. I don't care what anybody says. He didn't need a drink at night, and you didn't have it at night. But when friends came over, you go out with your friends and you go overboard.
Mm-hmm.
But they like to pin that as, oh, he was an alcoholic. No, he wasn't.
Yeah. Right.
He didn't drink every night. We didn't have that going on.
I think that's why a lot of people loved him so much, because he was human, and he was okay with showing his true self on camera. He was okay with that.
I'm very fortunate to actually seen the side of his sensitivity, where he's actually cried. I mean, he's there, and he says it's not a bad thing. So he was that human side that I love. And I know everybody wants to say, oh, he used to beat women. Yeah, but here's the thing. He also understood how he's trying to change. Yeah. The attitude is he wanted to change. It would be terrible if he never wanted to do that. Then I could say, yeah, he had a problem.
Mm-hmm.
But
right.
He always wanted, but it doesn't go overnight.
It's always nice when, you see John through the years in New York City and stuff, just talking to people on the street.
Oh, sure.
It seemed, was he really just that approachable? Because he seems very, he's a very humble person, even by what you're describing. It's obvious, right?
Oh, we had, for me and him anyway, we would, it was funny. I wouldn't let him get into a cab. We were walking, it was freezing in New York. And I said, he goes, we can't get a cab. I said, by the time the cab gets down here, we could have been at the restaurant already. It's 2 blocks. I made him walk. But the other thing was, he goes, what should we do today? It was in February. I remember the month. It was February in '74, and we were in New York. And he says, what should we do today? And I said, well, you always wanted to see what New York City was about. So I'm going to take you on a bus ride. So I took him on the bus. And we're sitting on the bus. It was empty. As we got down into the Midtown, people filing on. Right. And we start hearing, is that John Lennon? Is that John Lennon?
He wouldn't take a bus.
So, yeah, no. And so at one point he turns to me, he goes, it's the nose. So he starts doing this, he puts his finger up to his nose and he's looking out the window and the whole thing. Till finally someone says, hey, John, how you doing? He goes, fine, man. He goes, I told you it's him. So he looks at me calmly and he said, it's time for us to get off. Yeah.
That's great.
I would like to point out that what you're talking about as far as John and just being human and being sweet. You put out the book of your photographs and you're doing the the exhibits now. Your photographs really do, that human nice side of him really does come right through in your photographs. Yeah. You really did a super job with I mean, you have a ton of photographs, but it really does come through of how happy he, at least at that time,
That's why when everybody says, oh, it's not made up. These were our photos that I would take. I could have taken thousands, but I didn't. I only wanted to take photos when I thought, oh, that's an interesting shot, where he's relaxing, he's doing this, he's reading. I didn't want to always constantly have a camera in his face, as it were. So I took very specific things of him and Julian, him with his friends. I used to forget that I carried the camera, and I used to forget that John would say, here's the photographer. I said, who are you talking about? Oh, you're talking about me? I would always refer to other people, not looking at myself. I was just the person just taking from the side. That was not my job. In fact, I'm humbled and very grateful when professional photographers come to the show and they say, so, how much schooling, have you had with it? I said, none. And they said, you were never taught? I said, no, it's all instinct, And so that's how I took photos. And John happened to like my eye as well. So that was great. And I'm very happy when I've been told that my compositions of my photos of him and all the photographs are great. And I'm like,
they're amazing.
Okay.
Yeah,
absolutely
and
amazing.
And then comes the historic part that you were pretty much the last one to photo him with Paul.
Yeah, but here's the thing: it's not the last time we saw Paul.
Right.
Oh, right. No, it's not the last time you saw him, but it's the last photo of them together.
Absolutely.
Right. Yeah.
Everybody has a little bit. Everybody was there that day. Every musician, everybody's hanging around. Everybody's captured. But it's the only photo that's just the two of them. And then I look at it and I tell, and you could, that's in the exhibition. And I tell people when they're looking at it, he's wearing my jeans. So there are all these little things. So when people buy the print, I made it look like, and I'm surprised it held up all these years. But the Polaroid, because it's a Polaroid.
Right.
It's made. It's a 16 by 20, and I made it look like a Polaroid, giant Polaroid. And when people come, I sign it right then and there. I sign it right for them right there, and I write it like as if it wasn't a Polaroid. It's all inclusive in that little white spot.
Mm-hmm. All right, well, let's not pass over this. Why was he wearing your jeans?
He liked them, and it's somehow one morning, I wake up and I just remember looking at him, and I'm bleary-eyed. People don't realize that if they see John without his glasses, he can't see beyond maybe a foot beyond his face.
Oh gosh.
I mean, he really was blind. So if he's squinting or he's like, because he thinks people are about to attack him, because he can't see. He really can't see.
Yeah.
So I'm waking up, and I know he's standing in front, and I realize he's wearing my jeans, and I'm going, okay. He goes, look. And I go, yeah, I see. He goes, look. And I said, I see. Why are you wearing them? He goes, it fits. I like them. So I lost my jeans to him.
That was actually my next question. Like, you were very thin back then, and like I was surprised that they even fit him.
These are unisex jeans.
Oh,
okay,
I've never heard of them.
They were great. They were my landlubber jeans. I loved them.
Yeah.
And the hips are a little wider than for a woman than it is for a man. So he's slim. So we were about, I think it was a 28 or a 29.
Wow. Yeah, that's.
I remember when I was a 28.
Yeah, I think I was a 28 in sixth grade or something.
I think it was like
goodness.
senior year.
Wow. All right, now, but also talking about pictures, you tell me, you put out a bunch of pictures. You guys had the apartment, and whenever people walked in, were you at the top of the stairs taking pictures or was there some kind of connection with the door open and it took, you have these great shots of people.
Oh yeah, the Polaroid shot, right.
Yeah, which I thought was great. I love stuff like that.
What it is that John would stand at the top and I would buzz, and as they came in, it was taken.
That's really cool. I like, those off the cuff, sporadic moments like that.
They had no idea. Nobody knew what was happening.
Right,
they
right.
come in and it was like, because the way we lived in an apartment that's 800 square feet, if at that, maybe 9, doubt it. It's probably 800. We didn't live in a very big place, but we had a nice little balcony where we saw the UFO.
Right.
That place. The pictures of John were on the Walls and Bridges album. That was taken off from our balcony. Where it's wearing the New York City T-shirt. It was all done on our balcony. So that we come in, we buzz you in, and you're met with a staircase. You have to climb up. So a flight of stairs. So it was like a little on top of everybody else, I
love that off the cuff.
Yeah.
Pose pictures are nice, but those are the real shots,
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's what mainly what you see in my exhibition or in the book. It was all off the cuff. These were not posed for any magazines or anything. Because, I've seen John and Yoko when they used to do their stuff and they look like they're home and it's at home shot. But you know that there's a photographer to take those shots.
Yeah, sure.
I used to just take shots, whenever I felt like it.
Great.
Now, May, you mentioned the night of the UFO. Can you tell us about that? Because I would love to hear a first-hand account.
Well, it was, we had come home. I love when everybody says, oh, how high were they taking something? No.
I'm a firm believer in that stuff, first of all. Let me tell you right now.
Thank you. I still have all of John's magazines that he used to order. He loved reading about that because he truly believed that. I believed it too.
Yeah.
It just made you more of a firm believer when you've actually seen it, So what happened was we had come home. It was a Friday night in August. Now, you know what New York City is like. It's dead in the summer. Everybody's gone away. The street that we lived on, everybody's gone. They're out somewhere in Europe or somewhere holiday or the Hamptons, whatever you call it. So, John's standing outside on the balcony. He's having a smoke with his French cigarettes, because he knew I didn't like. That's a horrible smell, those cigarettes.
Sure is. Yeah.
And then it's stagnant in an apartment,
right.
So he would go outside. So as he's having a smoke, I'm looking for the pizza guy because that's what we decided we're going to eat. So this is like 9 o'clock, close to 9 o'clock at night, and I'm hearing him going, May. I go, okay, it's not urgent. It's all right. I'm busy trying to figure out the pizza guy here. And then I hear it a second time, and I went, what? And I go running out, and I go, what do you want? And I stop mid-sentence, and I see this thing over his head, and I'm staring at it, and I'm going, I said, what? He goes, you're seeing what I'm seeing. And I'm like, oh my God, there's no noise. There's nothing. And it's just about 2 to 3 stories above our heads.
Wow.
That's how close.
That's not a lot.
That's not a lot. And you could see, those heat waves, from the street when it's hot.
Right, yeah.
So you could see that on the underbelly of this thing and around the ship. So it's one white light that goes on and off all around the rim and one solid red light on top. And it moved fast. It slowed up, it went down, it went sideways, and I'm watching this thing the whole time. I could hear the street noise below me. I could hear the cars. I could hear the helicopter across the river because we faced the East River. And I'm like, we couldn't hear this thing that was sitting over our heads. Nothing.
That's unbelievable.
But here's what I found out in doing my research, okay? Because we all know this story, and you even talk about it in the documentary. So I decided to dig a little deeper. The UFO was hanging above your heads. The guy was yelling, pizza delivery.
He was trying to get there to me faster. I was starving,
They knew it was John Lennon and May Pang. They said, we got to get the pizza to him quick. Here's this thing.
I watched it for a good solid maybe 10 minutes because it took its time going down the river.
Wow.
And then I watched it tilt and go around the building, and it went below, and you could hear John screaming, it's below rooftop. I can't believe it. It's flying below rooftop. It had lowered itself down, and was flying. And I'm screaming. There is not one person, not my neighbor, no one that had come out to see.
Wow.
No, nothing. It was all dark everywhere. And you could see this thing, and you could see if it went in the distance. And if I told you that was a UFO, you would say, sure it is. Because by that point, it just melted in with all the rest of the background.
Right.
But if you had been watching, you could see it doing its little antics. And then when it finally started to move over the bridge, and it was the Williamsburg Bridge. And as it going, I said, it's going towards Brooklyn. Who do we know? That type of thing. But when it got to a certain part of the bridge, it stopped. And then I watched it just go straight up.
And there was nothing on the news that night about anybody else.
Nothing.
That's
because
crazy. That's wild.
when we found out we had people call, they said it was like maybe a couple of people, so it wasn't as if it was a big to do.
Yeah.
So then no one called the Times back then. No one wanted to call it too straight.
Yeah, right.
People called in for the daily news, but it's not. It wasn't big enough to make the headlines.
Unbelievable. Wow. Yeah, I'm a true firm believer in that stuff. 100%.
I automatically think of Sammy Hagar. He claims that he was once abducted by aliens.
I know a guy that actually claims that as well.
Yeah, I actually do too.
Here's the other thing. Everybody keeps talking about, John said that he claimed he was abducted. He's never said that.
Right.
Because we talked about, that was the first time he's ever seen, he believed in it, but he never said, I'm abducted.
Right.
He would like to, this is how, all those rumors start to get going. But, he said, I was ready. I said, no, I wasn't. But, that's okay. From that, everybody said, he said he was abducted. No, he did not.
Right.
And I don't know, everybody claimed he had this egg. There's nothing. Believe me. I was with him. That was the first time he had ever seen anything. And there was never anything. And he drew a little picture. He says, he grabbed an envelope and he said, I don't want to forget what I had just seen.
Yeah.
And he drew the little picture, which I think it's in the movie.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. And
Right.
and then
isn't there a little sketch in the Walls and Bridges album of?
There's no sketch of it in the Walls and
I'm trying to think where.
He just only says, I saw
UFOs over New York. Yeah.
Oh,
And
right,
I
right,
anticipated
right,
it.
yeah.
Oh, no, yeah, it was way too.
Yeah, and then you said in the documentary his drawing was spot on of what it looked like. Yeah.
Oh yeah, because there's that one red light, and then and it's all these white lights, and like I said, you can see the heat waves underneath it, and it was so close, you felt like you could touch it. That's how
That's wild, scary at the same time. I would think.
No,
too.
because it's silent. I could hear everything except this thing above my head. I could hear the street noise that I'm like, what, 13, 14 floors up, I don't even remember, up, and I could hear the East River, all the cars and the honking and everything. But this thing that's sitting over my head, nothing.
Wow. All right, well, we're talking to May Pang here, the art gallery. What is it, August 1st?
It's August 1st to August 3rd in Sag Harbor at the Keys Gallery right on Main Street there. That's right next to the American Hotel.
Okay.
That I remember. And it's a lovely gallery. Everybody should come by. If you want to also, all prints are up for purchase.
Oh, nice.
If you want. Yeah, everything is up for purchase. I always say if you want to take John home, you take the John that I knew.
Yeah.
home.
Nice. Very nice. And how do you happen to know, where they can get tickets for this, or?
Oh, it's open. Just come in.
Oh, really? Oh, very nice.
I definitely plan on being there. I don't know if you guys.
I'd like to.
I hope you come and say hello to me.
Absolutely.
Because I've had people come in and go, I'm going to come and see you, and then I didn't want to disturb you. You were talking to. I like to talk. I like to say hello to the guys that I'm having a conversation with.
Nice.
Good.
And you and correct me if I'm wrong. You and John kind of discovered Long Island together, right?
Yeah, we did. We went out there. We went out when we stayed with Peter Boyle out in Amagansett.
Yeah.
When they, back in the day, and then afterwards we went out when Mick Jagger had invited us out, and he had rented in Montauk when he had rented the house from Andy Warhol, and we were on the boat with Bianca and their daughter and everything, and John saw this little cottage. It looked like a Scottish cottage, reminded him of his childhood.
Nice.
And he said, "Oh, I love that." And it was on a cliff, and he said, and the guy, there was somebody on the boat, and said, he goes, "It's up for sale." He goes, "Would you like to see it?" And he goes, "Absolutely." So when we got off the boat, there were, we got someone to take us over to see the house. It was beautiful. And so it's one of those bittersweet moments because in 75, that's when, John, we had already taken the lawyer. We were about to purchase it.
Yeah.
And that was, I remember John saying, "Is it okay? The kitchen's not that big." I said, "Anything's bigger than a studio apartment that I had, so I could work with it." So he goes, "Great." We brought Julian. And we went out there to just see the whole thing. And so and that's another myth that's out there that I'm going to dispel. People said, "Oh, after the Elton John concert," I've had people come up to me and say, "Weren't you sad when John left you that night?" I said, "He didn't leave me."
Right.
This is where the rumors keep going.
Yeah.
And I said, "Did not leave me." I said, "We were still together. After all, we saw George, and then we saw Paul, and we saw all this stuff was still happening in Julian, and the signing of the breakup of the Beatles." So I think somebody should really look at their own dates and think about it.
Yes, absolutely right.
Yeah.
Absolutely right.
Yeah.
I was gonna, and I know you're I know,
Pressed for
yeah, I
time.
know you're a little pressed for time, and I appreciate you hanging with us. I did want to ask though, just quickly about that. What was, I mean, you were lovers with John, so on a personal level, you love him and you care about him. But at the same time, being the big music lover that you are, big Beatle fan, it must have been a very surreal moment to actually be sitting right next to him as he's signing those papers, dissolving the Beatles.
He had to. I know this may be hard to believe. Everybody in Disney World right now, they're looking for the room. Forget about it. They've already they've I've talked to the guy who works at Disney. We've talked it over. The rooms have all been renovated, and we were never on the first floor. Everybody thinks we were not with Morris Levy. We were with Morris Levy. We're not on the first floor. And if you know Morris Levy, we're not and we're not near a doorway either.
Yeah.
To get in and out.
Gosh.
So when it was time for John to sign it, we didn't sign it the first time, which angered everybody because he said, "What happened?" And it was, John realized that it was because he would be the only one responsible, since he was the one living in the States, for the taxes. And he said, "I would be the only one."
That's right. Yeah.
And he refused to come out to sign it. And so then it then went on, and then even his own lawyer had no idea he was going to do that, and didn't want to sign it. And they fixed it, and all the lawyers, his personal lawyer and another lawyer, brought down all the paperwork. There was a ton, and brought it down where we were. We were vacationing, obviously, for our Christmas holiday with Julian down in Disney World. And that's why we were down there. And no, they didn't have to look hard. I mean, it's all these rumors that, they had to go find him. They didn't have to find him. They knew where we were.
Right, yeah.
We were always in contact, and they brought down all the paperwork. And it isn't one piece of paper because they had a lot of assets. It's Apple. It's the publishing. It's the songs.
Sure.
It's, you name it. It's
There's
everything.
so much to it.
It's layers. And I was in the other room making sure Julian was okay. And you hear John, "Come in and sign. Come on, take some photos." I'm like, "What?" Oh, anybody else would have been jumping in, and I'm like, "Okay, hold on,"
Yeah.
And I did not know, because the room was so dark, and he was sitting. I took the photo, and I was taken forward as he's signing it, because he's laying on a bed and he's signing, and I didn't want to jump from behind because it could rock the bed, so I just took it straight forward. So I took a couple of photos. So one of the photos made it, and it's this giant. You could see it, and that's up for sale, but it's at a premium because that's
bet.
Yeah. Because I'm the only one that has that type of photo.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So, but I can only tell you, it wasn't. He thought about it for a second. But you know what? It was time for everyone to move on. Everybody was ready.
Right.
But it didn't stop their friendship. It didn't stop for anything. Because in January, one of the last visitors, our first visitor to our apartment was Paul and Linda. One of our last visitors was Paul and Linda. And that's when they came in to tell us that they were going to New Orleans to do the next album.
Right.
Which, of course, was Venus and Mars.
Yep.
And he's in, John's going, "Oh, New Orleans. Okay. I like that, that whole thing." So after they left, John, in a day or two later, said to me, "I got to ask you something." And I was busy working on some paperwork, and he's on the bed, because our living room was our bedroom as well.
Right.
And he's sitting on the bed, and has the guitar, and he's going, "I got to ask you something." And I said, "What?" He goes, "Do you think I should write with Paul again?" Mm-hmm. I mean, I swung my head around like The Exorcist,
Oh, what God.
And I said, "Of course you should."
Yeah.
And he said, "Why?" I said, "Listen, you guys are good as solo artists, but when you two write together, it takes it to another level that no one can do."
God.
And he said, and he just sort of sat there and he went, "Yeah, you're right." And so that was the thought. And he said, "Let's go down to New Orleans." I said, "Yeah." And so on the day that that John went to visit Yoko because she said she had a great method to help him quit smoking. Because, he was feeling like he was losing his breath, not holding notes longer.
Oh, wow.
And he happened to mention to Yoko, and Yoko said, "Oh, I have a great method." And I already knew something was up.
Yeah.
And he said, "You got to come today. It's got to be today." He knew I was agitated about that. And she was insistent. It was not, and I knew. And as he was going out the door, he turned around and he goes, "Look, I'll be back by dinner time." And that's what he thought. That's what we were talking about. And he goes, "We'll go out to any restaurant you want." And he goes, "And let us make sure we, get the tickets and we make the reservation. We'll go down to New Orleans." Those were his last words.
Right.
"I'll see you soon." Obviously, that didn't happen.
Right. Crazy.
That's
wow.
Unbelievable.
So any of these other rumors or whatever else, that's where it stepped. So from that, from my book, from what I've told you, you've read all this stuff.
Yep.
This is where rumors have gone all over the place.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And you've heard them all, but that's what happened.
Well, they can all go to maypang.com and get the books and everything and set the record straight.
Well, those books right now are out of print.
Oh.
If I have any copies, if I do, I'll bring them out, but I don't have any at the moment. Sometimes I look in my storage unit, and there are a few, and I'll sell them, but they're out of print, and I'm concentrating on just on the photographs.
Yeah.
And people should come down. And if you're on Facebook, there's a site called Maypang Photography.
Oh, okay.
You go on there, and you'll see my schedule and any photos that are coming up. And it's also maypangphotography.com. My partner, Scott Siegelbaum, put all this together. So, because I was complaining, I said, "I'm on your site, but nobody knows. They don't know where to find me."
Yeah, sure.
I said, "Who else is on tour except me?" He goes, "Oh, you're right." So he readjusted everything. So he's made a separate website and things.
Oh, okay.
I can't
Good
wait
to know.
get there.
Yeah.
May I have one?
I look forward to seeing you guys.
We're so thankful that you're here
Yes,
with us.
absolutely.
Frank, instrumental part of getting that done.
Thank you.
Yes.
May, let me ask you. I'm
yes,
sorry.
go ahead. Ask me anything.
I, as Tony knows and Frank knows, I always ask anybody in the music industry this question, whether it's the actual band member or whatever. I ask the same question. Who was your first concert and how old were you?
Ooh. That's a good question because it wasn't so easy for me to go out. It'd probably be a Rascal thing. Or it could be, because I was a big Rascal fan. And, they came around the time, Sid Bernstein, obviously, with Shea Stadium, but he was always around and you always knew who he was.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah. And so it might have been, and there was Murray the K. My favorite was the Murray the K show. And he had the Fox whatever. And I remember he had one on 59th Street and the theater. And it was like so expensive, like $3.50 to get in or whatever. And you had like 10 acts, like The Who.
Right, The Who was a part of
Stones,
it. Yeah.
Everybody was in there,
Yeah.
Boy, don't we wish we could go back to those times.
Yes.
Oh, you ain't kidding.
Those tickets, they're expensive. I could not go to a real concert like to the Beatles, too young. I was 14. My mother would never let me out the door. So, it's crazy. But I'll tell you a funny story because it was just Ringo's birthday.
Right.
And I laughed. And I tell people this story. I said, many years ago, I was asked by someone, they said, "Who's your favorite Beatle?" And I went, "Ringo." And then I realized, I said, we're talking about when I was 13, right? Now, and I didn't hear anything. And I said, when I was 13, right? And I hear, yeah, okay. And I said, I'm 13. It's Ringo. And so, who would have thought that years go by that you're going to be asked that question, not by a journalist, but by another Beatle, favorite Beatle. So he was a little miffed, and I said, that's why I kept saying 13. I'm 13. Besides, underneath it said, "You're married." I'm not going to go for that.
Sorry, girls.
You better shop with somebody who's not married. So he started, he didn't say anything. And we saw Ringo that night. And I couldn't believe he did this to me.
Oh,
he
boy.
said, You were her favorite.
That's
If I
fantastic.
can tell you, I wanted to jump in the hole and just go away. So luckily, Ringo was terrific. He knew how to handle his partner. So it's good.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
What a
I would
great
do the
story.
same thing.
That's
I
a
would
great
totally do the
story.
same thing. That's great.
He was the
Yeah.
most popular.
Well, yeah,
he was big with
yeah.
the girls back
Yeah.
then, and parents did not like the Beatles in the '60s.
Yeah,
the,
true.
The parents
Yeah.
did
Yep.
not like them.
Yeah.
Crazy.
So yeah, August 1st through 3rd at Sag Harbor. That is where the exhibition will be.
They should also watch my documentary if they get a chance, because when you see, because you've seen it, and then the pictures give you more context to what we were doing.
Yeah.
And people can see the movie on Prime, on Apple TV. It's a streaming thing, so they'll be able to find
And
it.
yeah, if you're a big Lennon fan and his music, you can even hear early demos of songs, little snippets, but stuff I've never heard anywhere before. So that was a big treat as well.
I saw some things I never saw before too. So, it was great.
That's funny. But I could sit there and talk to you all day. I mean, there's even, after the Lennon stuff, I know you worked with Robert Palmer. I know you were close friends with David Bowie. Oh, we wanted to also extend our condolences. We know that you were close to Lou Christie, who just passed away. So there's a lot of stuff we would have liked to have gone, but we're so appreciative
You
of
have
your
to come
time.
back. You have to come
Yeah.
back,
Maybe
man.
another. We'll do this again sometime. And but yeah, we'll definitely see you that
It was
weekend.
a lot of fun. I
Good.
enjoyed it, and I look forward to meeting you guys. And Lou Christie. I mean, what's sad was that a couple of months earlier he said we got to get together for dinner.
Mm-hmm.
He wrote a song for me.
For you, yeah.
Hey May.
Yep.
And I was so, as the English would say, chuffed by it. It's just, I always tried to support whatever he was doing because he was such a generous man. Such a generous man.
Wow. Yeah. So well, again, our condolences. But this was great. We can't thank you enough, May. And we look forward to meeting you in just a few weeks, 3 weeks.
Yeah.
So all
I
right, very
can't believe
nice.
it. Time has gone by.
Yes.
Crazy.
I know
Any good food that I should know about?
Come on, May. It's New York, and you're a New Yorker. You know the good food here.
At Sag Harbor, that's where all the rich people go. We don't know anything about Sag Harbor. That's the rich people. We don't. Yeah. We're in Levittown, which is the exact opposite of Sag Harbor.
I understand that one.
All right.
Pizza? No. Okay. All right.
Pizza. We probably have better pizza here. That's my guess than Sag Harbor. Yeah. Who needs them?
Well, if you do, bring some out.
All right, we'll do. We'll take you up on that. Nice cold pizza for you.
I love it. I will eat that.
All right.
That's from
All
New
right.
York.
You got it.
All right. Yep. We're gonna do it.
Yeah.
Yep. All right.
Okay.
May Pang, thank you so much. We really appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, guys.
Bye.
All right.
May.
You take care now. Have a good day.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye bye. All right, ladies and gentlemen, May Pang.
That was great.
Let's see. I don't know how long her video had frozen. I'm just seeing
probably
it now.
about 30 seconds.
Oh, that's it. Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Okay. Good. And our apologies. Yeah, there were definitely some sound issues. I honestly think it was on her end, but
I'm not sure. That's why my phone was vibrating because my buddy in England was calling to tell me, and then he just texted me because it would ring once, and then he was gone, and then he texted me that it was low. It was there, but it was very low, and then you fixed it.
yeah, but it still wasn't. It wasn't what it should have been. But again, I think that was on her end. So there's only so much I can do on this end when it's definitely.
It was great.
Yeah.
It was.
But
really,
I
that was
thought
really awesome
she was
of her
very
doing
nice.
this.
Yeah.
Sweetheart. That was dynamite.
Yeah,
Absolutely
absolutely.
dynamite. Hearing the real stories instead of the stuff we read about that's inherently wrong.
Yeah,
You know.
absolutely. Bear with me. I'm fixing graphics and stuff now, getting back to normal. That was cool. That was a lot of fun. We thank May Pang. Although, all right, so let me ask you guys. I don't know what in the world she was talking about. I asked her about John signing, the papers to end the Beatles, and then she started talking about first floor, second floor, being near the door.
There was
right over my head.
Well, because the people all want to rent the room, and there's all speculation about what floor in the room.
Oh, they want to rent the room because they were in it?
That's what they were. Yeah.
Oh, that's what she was talking about?
Right.
Yeah.
Oh,
so
I
the
got
person
totally
she
lost
was
there.
with, I forget what the name she said already.
Yeah, Maurice
he's
somebody?
He's not. Evidently, he's not.
I think he's a lawyer.
He's not anything he wants to.
Oh,
he's
yes.
not a fan of being on the first floor of hotels and whatnot.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh,
He
all
said
right.
people trying to find the place, where they signed, where he.
People trying to right.
But that was really smart on John's part to not sign that initially because of that tax thing.
That's the stuff I love hearing about, the real stuff.
Right.
Like, yeah.
They just think he was, people out there just think he was giving a hard time. I'm not signing this. No, it was it was a solid reason.
Right.
Yeah,
Solid
the ins and
reason.
outs and the business
It's a
side,
big business, right?
Because he was, but he wasn't. How does that work? Because he wasn't legally here at the time, so he was still legally a resident of England. So how would he get stuck with all the taxes? Maybe if you're here for a certain amount of time, that makes it like a permanent residence of some sort.
You got a residence, yeah.
Yeah.
You currently reside, maybe, I don't know. But,
Yeah.
the tax laws have changed 2 million times since
Well,
then,
true.
so,
True.
But
and especially in England, too. They have issues with their taxes over there as well. You hear all the time about people who are from there that leave there.
Yeah.
In fact, I think, speaking of Beatles, I think that's why McCartney ended up living in Scotland, right? Because it was for tax purposes. I've heard Phil Collins moved to Switzerland. Like Ringo lived in L.A.
Monte Carlo for a while, and then L.A.
I'm sorry, who?
Monte Carlo.
Oh, okay. But all for tax reasons.
Yeah.
Elton John, I know has a place in Atlanta because for tax reasons as well. But
well, just when we retire here, staying in New York is not great for our retirement because of the way it gets taxed.
Right.
The best state for retirement, and I wouldn't go there, is Delaware.
Why wouldn't you go there?
Cold, small.
Small.
Biden's neighborhood. I don't know. Anyway,
all right. Now we got it.
No, but Delaware's it's small and cold and freaking with a tiny state, which is kind of cold, small, but it's way too cold.
Is it cold? It's colder than
leave
here?
New York. Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. If I'm going to leave New York, I'm not going anywhere cold again.
Okay. I don't consider
But
New York cold.
I don't mind the cold in the winter. To me,
Yeah.
being somewhere at Christmas and it's warm out doesn't seem right.
Yeah, I'm with you.
I was in
yeah.
Florida one time around Christmas, and I'm like, this is not right. But anyway, this is a little bit of Beatle history this past week.
Okay. Well, we had Ringo Starr's birthday.
Oh yeah. Besides
Okay.
that, July 6th, 15-year-old Paul meets John.
Oh, is
at
that
a
right?
Parliament show for the first time.
Oh, okay.
The day they met. Yes.
July 6th?
July 6th.
What year was that?
Oh, it had to
50s,
be
right?
57 or 58, right?
Wow. So they met 4 years later. They're topping the charts in England. That's crazy
pretty
if you
much.
think about that. Who accomplishes that? And then 58. So then 6 years later, they're Beatlemania's in full throttle. That's a very short amount of time.
Yeah.
And then too, you think about the amount of work that those four did together. Once Ringo joined the band in '62, they break up. I mean, they broke up in '70, but I think they had one studio session in 1970. So basically, '69 they broke up. That's sorry, no caller ID. I don't answer you. So you figure 7 years. The amount of stuff those guys did in 7 years is unbelievable.
Yeah.
That's crazy. The amount of, which is why maybe that's why they ended up fighting and breaking up. They're probably sick of each other.
Right.
They were probably just constantly in the studio.
That's what I'm saying. Not just studio though. That
each other's house, writing,
performing, rehearsing, making movies, appearances, interviews. All this endless stuff. I mean, and they took a 6-month break in 1966, I think.
Yeah, it's not like when they went to
But
Bermuda
that's
or
it.
something, go to an island and
Right.
Yeah.
But that's it. That's the only time they really took a big break from each other.
Yeah.
Figure when they broke up in '70, George, who was the youngest, was 27 when they broke up.
Yeah.
Right. Right. That's what I always think about when he was only 22? Was it when Sgt. Pepper came out? It's 24.
Yeah, 24.
Crazy, right?
Yeah.
Can you imagine doing something like that at such a young age? That just blows me away, that kind of
And
stuff.
then by the time the Beatles broke up, George had 3 albums worth of material.
Yeah,
because
right.
they would never utilize his stuff,
Yeah.
which was a shame. I mean, great music.
Yeah.
And some of the best Beatles songs are George Harrison songs.
Oh, sure.
When the concert for George came out, I remember being in the theater watching it and Paul singing "All Things Must Pass," and in my head I'm going, George is probably going, "Sure, now you want to sing it."
I know. Yeah, right.
Now you want to play it.
Yeah.
Well, the only reason Paul played it was because it was on the Beatles anthology. Like Paul, he does that with John too. When he covers John, like when he sings "Give Peace a Chance," because he has a writing credit on that.
Right.
He only when he performs songs of the other Beatles, it's only stuff that's been associated with Beatles. Like you know, that's it.
Yeah, right.
All right, let me read. So that was May Pang. The art gallery exhibit is in Sag Harbor. What did she say? The Keys Gallery? All right, I guess I have to turn the phones off. Thanks a lot. She said the keys, like car keys? The Keys Gallery? Was that the name of it?
I think so. I'll look it up.
That's August 1st, 2nd, and 3rd.
Okay, just DJ D Love says that was him.
All right, well, not answering it, DJ.
Gotta be
yeah.
ID specific.
All right. So again, we apologize for the audio issues in the beginning. I did record it, so I might be able to post it later. I started recording a few minutes in, but I think it was before the sound kicked in on the live stream, so maybe I'll repost this later. Okay, there's Ann, there's Fremder, and there's his usual comment. Yoko sings in the key of terrible. Yes. May Pang Gung Bang. Oh, there's Don Sill. Did John ever write any songs about May Pang? Yes, he did. And she's again, I had so many more questions to ask.
Yeah.
But yeah, she's the song Number 9 Dream. Some people know that song. That was a little bit of a hit for him. Number 9 Dream. She's you can actually hear her. He sings the line, sometimes I call out my name and then there's a whisper. John. That's May Pang. Mm-hmm. There's Andrea, excuse me. Good morning, May Pang, she says, exclamation point. OMG. I'm sorry I missed the start of the show. How is everyone? Well, apparently we had audio problems, so you really didn't miss much, Andrea. Everybody's saying good morning to each other. John saying hi to Don. Fremder, I'm going to guess there were jeans everywhere. We're talking about John wearing her jeans, but I don't get it. What does he mean?
Who knows?
Oh. Andrea, when I went to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, I stared at his New York T-shirt for 5 minutes easily. Yeah, John, there's that famous picture of John with the New York City T-shirt. Fremder, I'm going to guess seeing UFOs were during the Sgt. Pepper days. That would be incorrect.
No.
Andrea, there's no way in hell that this vast universe, we are the only life out there. Of course there is. Oh, she's talking about the UFOs and aliens. Yeah, I mean, yeah, we have no idea, but yeah, in my opinion, yeah, it's possible. Anything's possible. Why not? Don saying hi to John. It's raining in Florida. Sorry. It's raining here today, too. I so wish John stayed with May, says Carol Miner. The man, if you look at pictures and stuff, yeah, he did seem happier.
Yeah.
He did. So. And Andrea agrees. John's asking Andrea how she's feeling. Carol, what? Oh, Carol, I'm sorry. He's asking Carol how she's feeling. Much better, John. Thank you. Oh, that's right. You had COVID.
That's right.
You doing all right?
Did.
My apologies. Was that? Yeah. I forgot to ask how you were doing. Yeah. So glad you're doing better. And Rodney, thank you, May Pang. This has been great. Best wishes always. Thank you, May. So surreal, says Andrea.
Mm-hmm. Oh, here's the I'm sorry, the sleeveless New York City shirt, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, this one. This one.
What's going on there? Are you wearing that same shirt? Is that what's going on? Wow.
You see that, right?
You people are freaks. It's
I know I had it somewhere.
John's apologizing. He said he should have asked Andrea, too, how she's feeling. What? I'm pretty sure Elton John has a place in a few places. When Ringo came into the world, a star was born. Oh, Fremder. Apparently, the Yellow Submarine was in a few places. I don't get that either. All right. That's all the comments.
A couple things about the stuff with John. There was so much of him that was filmed, and yet the time with May and Paul and all them in Los Angeles wasn't filmed, and the Elton John concert wasn't filmed.
Yeah.
Do not get over that there's nothing to film on that.
I wanted to ask her, if you watch the documentary, she talks about when Paul... we talked about the last photo that she... the last photo of John Lennon and Paul McCartney together was a photo taken by May Pang. In fact, I'm going to show it in a second.
That's a great picture.
Right there. But in the documentary, she says that Paul was there visiting, but he came with a purpose. He came with a message from Yoko. Yoko asked him to put in a good word for her, for John to go back to her. So I meant to ask her, but why in the world would Paul McCartney do that for Yoko?
If that's true.
Well, but
is it?
But that's what I'm saying. May talks about it in the documentary.
She did. I didn't see that. Oh,
yeah.
I didn't. Did she?
She says it in the documentary.
Oh yeah. Oh, I'm sorry.
So
I'm
what?
sorry.
So like, why would like if I'm Paul McCartney, I get a phone call.
Yeah,
Hello.
I know.
No.
No.
Hang up.
No.
Like why? Of all people.
Yeah.
I can see if she asked Elton John or David Bowie, but like Yoko Ono, she was very instrumental in the breakup of the Beatles. They all obviously hated her. She was in the way. You know, you see the talk about film footage, like pretty much from 1968 on, she's always there.
Yeah, right there.
Remember when the documentary came out a few years ago, the Get Back documentary?
Yeah.
And George leaves the band, and there's footage of John and Paul and Ringo hugging each other, and they're like, okay, they're talking to each other about going to see George. And they're hugging, and you see her. If you look at the corner of the shot, there she is, like trying to get out of here.
Yeah, she was always always there. They're too much. They're way too much.
Yeah. But you give Lennon credit. He did love her. I mean, nothing against May Pang, but he did love Yoko.
When Paul went there, obviously he didn't listen. He didn't care to. You know, he stayed.
But he went back, and they had a son, and they did appear to be very happy together. And you know, screw it. You know, if
now, Yoko ruined any chance of John and Paul writing because they were going to go to Louisiana.
Right. Yep.
He says, when I come back, we'll get the tickets for Louisiana. We'll go down.
So Yoko broke up the Beatles twice.
But
then she brought them back together because when they then made those later recordings in the 90s, she gave them the songs.
Yeah, I get that, you know. Still. Just, it's crazy.
You're watching three geeks talking about the Beatles.
We could talk about the Beatles all day.
Yeah. What is the name of May Pang's doc? It's called The Lost Weekend, I think.
Right. The Lost Weekend.
It's called The Lost
Story.
Weekend. It's on Prime. That's where you can find it. I don't, I was saying that before we went on the air that I thought I might have had the DVD, but then she said it's streaming only, so I don't have a DVD.
Yeah, The Lost Weekend, a love story.
Oh, that's it. Thank you. Yeah, it's cool. If you're a Lennon fan, you'll really enjoy it. I'll tell you, it's better than the documentary Yoko just put out, the one-to-one documentary.
Yeah.
I was not a fan of that at all.
It was okay. You didn't see it yet?
No.
It's all stuff we already knew about.
Yeah.
And it had nothing, and they call it one-to-one. One-to-one was a John Lennon concert. It was a fundraising concert to raise money for an institution that was housing special needs people.
Yeah.
They spent 10 minutes of that documentary talking about it.
Right.
Everything else was about his...
That place was messed up, man.
But that footage of that place was...
Oh, my God.
I cried. I have no problem admitting
terrible.
that. Oh, it was awful.
Terrible.
Especially now, because I think about my kid.
Yeah.
If my daughter had to live that way, I think I'd be in jail for murdering
Crazy.
people. No way. There's no way I could do that. But yeah,
the concert was not.
They spend 10 minutes on that. The rest of the documentary was about his how Nixon wanted to deport him.
Deport him and all that.
Like, there's another documentary about that already. Like, that's what I'm saying. We already knew this stuff. Like, why are we hearing about this? I wanted to learn about what the concert was for.
Are there plans for the concert to come out in full?
Yes, but that has nothing to do with what I'm talking about.
Okay.
Like, I'm not saying I wanted to see the concert. I wanted to know the story.
They barely talk
It's
about.
They pushed it as a documentary about the concert, and it's not. So that's what pissed me off. So go see May Pang's documentary.
Absolutely. Did you look up the name of the place?
I couldn't find it.
Okay. I think that's what it was, though.
Oh, you couldn't find the name of it?
No, I tried looking up on May's Facebook, and I didn't see it on there.
Was it the photography site on Facebook? The photography page.
Let me see.
That's going to be great. I'm looking forward to that.
Keys.
Yeah.
Sag Harbor.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Keyes.
ES, like the Florida Keys.
Julie Keys Julie Keys Gallery. Right. Thanks for that.
Okay, yeah.
He's saying yes,
Thanks
like
for
he did
nothing,
something.
Frank. Thanks for nothing.
And Frank, you set this up with May Pang, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
I totally enjoyed her story. Thank you, Frank.
Thank you.
And I'll throw a little credit to Jeff. He planted the seed because he actually contacted May before Frank, but for some reason she responded to Frank.
She responded to me, too.
She did eventually respond to you?
No,
but she responded to him
me
first. I
No.
thought. No?
No, she responded to me way before, and I just I said, oh, Frank did too. Then, I don't want both of us talking. Because we didn't know about the other.
Right.
Yeah. Oh, no, she responded to me like a day or two later.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
And,
Very nice.
She said we'd set it up at a later date. that
all right.
worked out.
When do we want to go? I can't do the 2nd. So the
that's
first.
what I was thinking about going with the 2nd.
Oh, all right. What about the 3rd, the Sunday?
Maybe. Possible.
Is that all right
Any
with
of it's
you?
probably fine with me.
All right.
Yeah.
So let's. I'll drive. Let's go out. Let's go out there on the 30th. Sag Harbor's probably an hour away.
Yeah.
And then it'll probably take about 5 hours getting back because it's a Sunday. Sunday, people coming, all the rich folks coming back from the Hamptons.
Yep. Hamptons, yes.
So yeah, bring an empty water bottle to pee in. Bring some snacks.
Yeah,
I
Mary's looking forward to that. She's going to go too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, all right, cool.
She even said, she goes, please ask, because Mary would have came if she was off today, but she's working, and she goes, I wanted to ask her, please tell me what you think of Yoko singing.
Oh.
And we did anyway.
Nice.
So
that was almost top of my list.
Yeah. Oh my God.
I love that stuff.
Oh my God. And it's just
it's so funny.
She was just awesome about the whole interview, really.
Oh, it takes almost 2 hours to get there on a regular day?
Nah.
That's what it says. An hour 43 according to Frank's phone. Although Frank can't find
the driver.
Oh yeah, so we're talking 50 minutes.
50, 55
for me.
minutes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Does it give mileage? Does it give miles?
76 miles.
76 miles? That's okay. So that's nothing.
I'm not. That's fine.
A little
Yeah, I don't
over
care.
An hour.
Oh, that's cool. So Mary will come. Is Mary is she a Beatle fan like you are?
Not like me. Not not like us. But she does like them. Yeah, and she loved the May Pang documentary. She's like,
oh, okay.
She even said she was telling one of our friends, our friends that are coming from England to visit at the end of August. We were telling them about the interview coming up. I'm not sure if they were able to watch because I know it's their time working over there. But
yeah, sure.
She goes, you guys, you do have to watch the documentary. She goes, I'm not, a Beatles nut like my husband. She goes, but I loved seeing that documentary with May Pang. She goes,
really?
She goes, she is awesome, and she goes, I just love the whole thing.
Yeah.
So Mary's looking forward to going too. So.
And I didn't want to come across as my creepy self to May Pang, but in her day, she was a looker.
She's a hottie.
She was a looker.
Still a beautiful woman.
Oh well, true. Absolutely right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Did I say what time it was doing it? What time it's open that day?
I tell you to look it up, but you wouldn't find it.
Yeah. She didn't mention the hours, but just. But it's great. It's a walk in, and she's.
Yeah, that was cool.
So
I didn't realize that.
Yeah.
That made it a little more.
Yeah.
Appealing. Let's see. Why isn't it on Julie Key's website? Oh, wait a minute. Scrolling down. Wait, why is it? It's not even on the website. On Julie Key's website. July 5th is the latest, and then it goes backwards. So, all right. Let's see. May Pang.
We will have to maybe contact Julie Keys and ask her to update her website.
Really?
Yeah.
And then she'll go to May Pang and say, who are these assholes?
Who are these guys telling me to update my website?
They said they know you. Now we can tell everybody we know May Pang. Oh, wait a minute. So it is on the website. How did I miss this? All right. So, wait a minute. No, it's not on the website. This is September of 24. What the fuck?
Come on, Tony.
It's not me. It's their website. All right. Let's see. Wait a minute. No, this one's even older. What the? All right. May Pang. This shouldn't be so hard to find. Oh, what did she say? May Pang Photography?
Yeah, May Pang Photography.
All right. Let's do that. May Pang Photography. Are you still typing? Why am I getting through these websites so quickly? What are you doing over there? What's taking you so long?
I'm getting last year's information too.
Turn off the porn, Frank. Jeez.
Although last year's was 10 to 8 on Saturday, 10 to 6 on Sunday.
I'm glad that you know what time last year was. What the?
That's very important.
Well,
apparently.
Knockout hours, it's probably the same.
Stop it. Just stop it. August 1st. So this is MayPangPhotography.com. Friday, August 1st through Sunday, August 3rd, Sag Harbor, New York, and the Hamptons. The Lost Weekend of Photography of May Pang, featuring May Pang appearance. Oh, there it is. There's the hours. Okay. 12 noon. So on Sunday, the day we're going to go, 12 noon to 5 p.m.
Okay.
That's when it's running.
Noon to 5 all 3 days.
No.
I didn't hear
That's why I just specified
I
Sunday.
missed that.
12 to 6 Friday and Saturday.
Okay.
12 to 5 on Sunday.
Okay.
All right. So, all right. So what are you thinking?
Try to go noon. Try to go at the beginning.
Sure. Right. I would.
Yeah, you think she'll be there the whole time?
Oh, I'm sure.
That's a long time talking to Beatle freaks.
Mm-hmm.
She's so.
But then 3 cool dudes like us are going to show up.
Oh yeah, I wasn't
It'll
talking
make
about
her
us.
day.
I was talking about all these other
Yeah,
people. But
yeah.
my point is, she'll be too tired. Like, so I'd be worn out if I had to listen to me talk about the Beatles for all this time. I'd be like,
That's why we get there early.
true. And then where are we getting the pizza from? Calda,
Calda, Two Brothers.
Bella Vista Pizza in Plainview. Go see George. Yeah, all right. Well, all right. We have time to figure that out.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wait a minute. What's this? Wait a minute.
What?
What's the date here? There's going to be an exhibit in Oyster Bay.
What?
You sure it's not old info?
What'd you just say?
You sure it's not old info?
No, this is all current stuff. See, so there's the Hamptons one,
Okay.
August. Then September 12th to September 14th in Albany. Albany, excuse me.
Okay.
Then Oyster Bay, Long Island.
Oh, wow.
But there's no date next to it. So there is right next to Billy Joel's motorcycle shop is a little art museum
That's
with
the
all
address.
rock and roll stuff. What's that?
Audrey Avenue.
Oh, it says that?
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, it does. Oh, Long Island Picture Frame. That's a different place.
Oh.
But that's right there. But yeah, there's no dates. It has hours.
Maybe it's tentative.
Right? It's not me, right? There's no hours there.
Maybe it's pending. Maybe it's pending dates.
All right, but why are we driving out to Sag Harbor?
Yeah.
Because that's not guaranteed.
That's
yet
true.
in
Damn
my
it.
book.
Yeah, you're right.
That is not guaranteed in my
Yeah,
book.
no
But
way.
Oyster Bay, we can hit Billy Joel's shop. We can go to Tabby's for lunch. Have you ever been to Tabby's?
Not yet. You told me about it.
Oh, you guys are killing. Oh, you haven't been there either?
I've been there a long time. I used to.
Oh, but you have been.
Barry Ailes one time. That was a while back.
All right, big deal. I'm talking about Tabby's.
No.
I don't. Why are you doing that? I've never been to Tabby's, but I was
I know
3
it's the
stores
same
down.
place. I haven't been in town.
Is that the same place?
Oy, I'm gonna hit him.
All right. So we shouldn't take the chance and wait for the Oyster Bay.
I'm not. It's
All
just
right.
in
All right.
case
No,
you
it's fine.
can.
No. It'll
You
be.
can always go again if it does come up.
All right.
And I will.
Yeah.
I
So
think we
we'll
all
be
will.
friends now.
Yeah, but we'll walk in, Trev, like, hey guys.
If she's doing Oyster Bay, so let's see, Friday, 5:30, 7:30. 5:30 to 7:30 on a Friday, that means she has time to stop here on the way. She comes in the studio, then we'll go to Tabby's for lunch, then we go to the exhibit. Mm-hmm. That's how it, see? All right, let's get it back on the phone. All right. All right, that's that. Okay. Do we still have people watching as
Yeah,
we're
I know,
sitting here
right?
talking about our own plans? Yoko's can't sing, says Ann. How embarrassing. Yoko's going to start singing. Oh, no. That's from Fremder. John comes in and says, all right, have a great rest of the day, sweetie. Catch you tomorrow. Ann wasn't saying goodbye yet.
Mm-hmm.
But now they're saying goodbye to each other. I guess John's had enough of us talking about the Beatles. Sorry, John. We can't do the John Rusciello show every day, John. Every day you call in. I show I call it the Romeo Rusciello show once in a while. It's not always about you. I don't know why I've gotten so feisty. I don't know what happened.
John. Why
Oh, I yell at John all the time.
John, I wouldn't yell at you, but
Yes, you would.
ah, never.
That guy, that smoothie kissing up to all the girls. Okay. All right. So what else?
What you got?
The Naked Gun trailer. Have you guys watched that?
I have not seen it.
That movie's coming out in a few weeks. So Superman is this weekend. Anybody care?
No, not really.
DC movies have really kind of blown chunks, so I'm really not.
Don't give Femder any material.
Well, no, true. Well, yeah, he's a big superhero guy, Fremder. But John just wrote in, jerk off, I'm still here.
Clearly, he's talking to you, not me.
Oh, absolutely. And
there it is.
And there it is. See, he has to get his phone call in. It's always about him.
It's a pleasure
He's
to
calling
hear
now. Oh, hi, John.
Jerk off. I'm still here watching you. What are you breaking my chops for? I just typed out to Ann because that's what we do almost every show.
Yeah, but you usually wait for her to leave. She didn't say that she was leaving yet.
So I did the first. I wanted to be first for a change. Is that okay with you?
No, it's not okay.
Okay. First of all, I love the interviews, but you're talking about disc jockeys, and you brought back great memories.
Oh, Murray the
In my
K?
generation, Well, Mary Kay with the swinging Sorry and Cousin Brucey and Wolfman Jack, all those guys that promoted Beatles songs in my era like crazy. And we used to go out to a place called Palisades Park, which was in a big amusement park in Jersey. I don't know if you guys remember that.
Yeah. I was never there, but I know of it. Sure.
Yeah, you were too young. I think it closed by the time you could appreciate it. But Mary Kay and Cousin Brucey on alternate Saturdays used to do their show. All right, right on stage, which was a real cool stage. It was right by the water, overlooking the Hudson.
Yeah,
and they would play Beatles, and they would play all the new songs, with all the new artists. And it started. They started Motown here as well. So, but that was a very interesting point in my generation. Not you guys. We couldn't afford to go to concerts. We couldn't afford to go to these places. But that was a great. And they would put a live screen of the Beatles and other artists showing their, especially like on the Ed Sullivan Show and stuff like that.
Sure,
it was great. It was great. So that's what I have to say. Stop breaking my chops. I always watch to the end, okay, and learn how to engineer your show properly. I wasn't going to say anything. I wasn't going to criticize. But since you're breaking my chops, well, I have to give it back to you.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, because we're live, you don't know there's an issue until you start.
Well, if you read your comments and on your private messages on your phone, you would have known right away.
Well, I'm trying to do my job. I don't have time to read private messages during my show.
Also, your other guy, your other cohort, Scelzi, was supposed to call me back 3 days ago. He didn't call me back, but I understand he's a very busy man. And if he read his comment, he would have seen it too, because I also texted him too. All right, now you got me all wound up for the rest of the day.
I actually had, if you heard my phone vibrating in the background, my friend Tony in England was trying to call and give me the heads up that the sound was extremely low on May's end, and then I saw his text. I couldn't answer his call because it would ring once and go away, but then I saw his text, and I was like, uh-oh, but Tony had already picked up on it.
The weird thing was, and I saw, John did comment, he said that there was no sound, but my levels were showing that it was coming in.
Yeah.
So that's why I did it in all seriousness. I just thought it was him at first. But then I turned the volume up on my YouTube feed on my phone, and I saw that, she wasn't coming through. I was like, what the?
When you looked at me, you gave me a look, I thought it was because his phone kept ringing, and I realized you realized there was a sound issue, and you wanted to see if I was picking
And of course,
up on
I'm thinking to myself, of all times I have sound issues, it's when we have a guest. So, but I don't know why my levels were showing me sound when it wasn't coming through. But then I was able to get it a little bit. But I think she wasn't using a mic of any kind. It was just the computer audio. So I think that was part of the problem. But so I was only able to boost the sound as much as I could here.
But the main thing is it ended up working out. Came through okay. And
yeah. I am a little bummed though that we missed, that they missed the beginning. Which and then I started recording on Zoom because Zoom picks up everything regardless of what they're hearing.
Okay.
So I can repost it later, but I didn't start recording on Zoom from the beginning either. That part is lost. But we're talking the first 5-10 minutes tops.
Not even.
So I think we're all right. Sorry, but that stuff does bother me. So he mentioned all the DJs. I still miss Scott Muni. I used to love Scott Muni.
Yeah.
All the little hokey dookies.
Yeah.
There was a thing with Scott Muni. I think goes back to the 70s where a guy was trying to rob a bank and he ended up taking hostages. And then he called Scott Muni on the air while this was happening. And Scott Muni, basically had a part in talking this guy down.
Huh.
And wasn't there something else too with a guy who wanted to commit suicide or no? Or is that might have been the same?
Might be the same.
That might be the same thing. The guy may have threatened to kill himself. Yeah, something like that.
I think it's on YouTube. I think.
Oh, I'm sure it is on YouTube. Yeah.
Doesn't Rob do a Scott Muni impression?
Rob who?
Bartlett.
Oh, I don't know.
I think he's doing an Imus.
Oh yeah, he did so many. Yeah.
That and Brian Wilson.
his Brian Wilson impression I know of. I contacted him the day after Brian Wilson died. I said, you want to come in here and do some Brian Wilson, or is it too soon? And he didn't even respond.
He didn't even answer.
Yeah, he didn't even respond.
Oh my god.
And then John was just now talking about the price of these concerts and stuff. I have Aunt Marie's Shea Stadium ticket. She saw them at Shea. I think the price is $350 or something.
I thought it was like $5, but maybe you're right.
Maybe it's $450, but yeah, that when I say $450, I'm talking about $4.50 to see the Beatles at Shea Stadium. Unbelievable.
I love her story about going to that show.
Yeah, she snuck out of the house to go. Our grandmother was everything's the devil. Everything is the devil. Yeah. There was and she hated the Beatles. I just told the story recently on here. She wouldn't let us play the song "Let It Be" in the house. She thought Mother Mary meant marijuana.
Yo.
God, was it you I was telling?
We were just talking about that the other day.
Right.
Actually, yeah.
And I would say to her, no, that's his mother. His mother died when he was 14. He's writing about... No, she wouldn't have it. Right. So we couldn't... She used to break our records. She used to rip the posters down.
Oh, my God.
Oh, yeah. So
the White Album was kind of...
Oh, the White Album. She used to... Because the White Album has the
4 headshots.
Yeah, but also has that poster.
Yeah.
John and Yoko are in bed. You can tell they're naked, but you can't see anything. But oh no, I had when Lennon died, I had TV Guide. Their cover was a painting of John. In fact, he's in a suit in this painting. She tore that.
I know the picture,
she tore that right off the wall, and I'm like, he's in a suit. Anyway, our Aunt Marie. She told Aunt Marie she was sleeping at a friend's house. Aunt Marie told our grandmother she was sleeping at a friend's house.
Right.
That friend said she was sleeping at our house. Right. And they snuck off to see the Beatles. So I don't know how they got caught, but they somehow. And then didn't I don't know if our grandmother smacked her around or just really laid into her. But whatever she did, after it was all done, Aunt Marie mouthed off back to her and said, "It was all worth it."
Yeah. She waited up for her, I think.
Home. Oh, she came home that night? I thought she said she was sleeping over at somebody's house.
Oh,
no?
maybe the next day.
I'll have to ask her.
That's funny.
All right. With that, it is time to go. So thank you, John, for watching the whole show. Thanks for staying till the end.
And thank you, May Pang, for coming in today.
Thank you, May Pang. That was a lot of fun. That was really cool for us Beatle geeks. I think we said it before we went on the air. This is the closest we'll ever get to the Beatles. Although you were on stage with Ringo once, weren't you?
No, I met him backstage.
Oh, it was backstage.
Yeah.
And you shook Ringo's... Well, tried to shake... Oh, you did shake his hand.
No, we shook hands. Oh, no, he was totally cool about that. Mm-hmm. Just don't ask for an autograph.
Well, oh, that was it. Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
But he was cool. He's like, oh... And I was like... My heart's going 100 miles an hour. I'm like... Oh, great to meet you. Oh, same here, mate. Take care. And then
the closest I ever came to a Beatle was laughing at Paul's... When Paul was married to Heather Mills, the one with one leg, and I saw her fall and I laughed. That's the closest I ever came to a Beatle.
Paul walked right past me at the airport.
Oh, yeah?
When he was on the phone. I almost passed out.
I got
I'm not
to play
even
with
joking.
some of the guys from Wings. Is that close?
Yeah, that's close.
What's that?
I had to play with a couple of guys from Wings.
Yeah, we had Steve Holly from
Steve
Wings.
Holly
He's
was
been on
on,
this show.
yeah.
Billy J. Kramer has been on this show twice. Even though he's been on the show twice, the last time I saw him, he had no idea who I was. But yeah, so we guess we've gotten kind of close to the Beatles. Yeah. But our big thanks to May Pang. That was a lot of fun. Thank you guys for putting up with our geekisms. So all right, we're gonna get out of here. Oh yeah, it's definitely time to get out of here.
Go see May's.
Go see the Art Gallery. We'll definitely promote it some more as time goes on here. It's only a few weeks away. Of course, don't forget Governor's Comedy Clubs, and of course, Governor's apologizes. The big show with Tom Arnold last night didn't happen.
Oh no,
Tom Arnold, and it's funny. You've talked about it on here. He booked a JetBlue flight to get to New York, and it got canceled on him. He booked another one with JetBlue that got canceled. So then he ran to the airport. I think it was Delta, I think he said. Booked a flight. That one ended up getting delayed. At that point, there was no way he was going to make it in time for the show. So they had to
should have
cancel.
just chose American Airlines right off the bat. They got hours. They got flights from L.A. every hour, just about on the hour.
I don't know
all day long.
I don't know where he was coming from. In fact, I want to say he was
so
coming
maybe it was
from
in LA.
Detroit, but I'm not positive.
Oh, Detroit. Yeah, Detroit. The jet Delta's bigger there.
Oh, is that right?
Oh yeah.
I'm not positive, but either way, yeah, the show didn't happen, so our apologies. Everybody at Governor's apologizes, and I'm sure they're giving money back But here at Governor's in Levittown, the main stage and the Giggle Room and the Brokerage in Belmore and McGuire's in Bohemia, we got some great shows that are definitely happening. The Laugh Off is going on, the Long Island Laugh Off. They're still in round 1, but that's still going on. And all the best to our pal Peter Anthony, who won one of the winners, moving up to round 2. But tonight, here at Governor's, the main stage, Josh Firestein. That's tonight here at Governor's. Tomorrow night here at Governor's in Levittown, one of my personal favorites, Tim Crumpier, will be here. He's fantastic. Speaking of fantastic comedians, Dave Attell will be here Saturday. In the Giggle Room on Friday, you got Terry McNeely, Sean Brown, Danny Calabrese, Chris Cassandro, and more. That's Friday in the Giggle Room. JJ Ramirez is playing the Brokerage Friday and Saturday. Another personal favorite and a guy who's very supportive of this room, Jim Florentine. He's playing McGuire's Friday and Saturday. He was at the Ozzy show.
Yeah, I heard you saying
and
that.
so I'm sure he'll be talking about that.
I was going to say, we should get him in here and see if we could talk about that.
Well, I don't know if it's too late to get him. I could ask him. Every time I ask him to come in, he does.
Oh, yeah?
He's awesome. What a great guy.
If you get him and he does, let me know. That'd be good. Cool to talk to him about that show.
Yeah, then come on back tomorrow. All right, I'll let you know. If I reach him and he's willing to do it, I'll let you know. Also at McGuire's on Saturday, Rob White. Would be for the late show. Rob White, Peter Anthony, who we just mentioned, Courtney Otera, and our pal Billy Geyer. They're all playing. Go to govs.com, govs.com. Make your reservations. Do some great comedy shows. Don't forget Govs Comedy Club podcast. You know, we had May Pang today, and the fun doesn't stop in here. Tonight at 8 o'clock, Primal Scream with Nick Greystone. He's talking to Diane Franklin. Who's Diane Franklin, do you ask? Well, I'll show you who Diane Franklin is. Better Off Dead, Tomboy, Amityville Horror 2. Just some of the big corny movies from the 80s that you recognize Diane Franklin from. She's going to be on Primal Scream with Nick Greystone tonight at 8 o'clock? Yeah, tonight at 8 o'clock. So the fun keeps on coming right here on Gov's Comedy Club podcast. And, of course, before that, don't forget at 6:30, Felix is on tonight. Felix and Bonnie with Recipe for Laughter. And I don't know who their guests are, but they'll be here. So lots of good stuff. Am I missing anything? No, there's no Peter today. Peter will be on tomorrow at 1 o'clock. You got me and Rosie in here tomorrow morning. You got Coffee with the Dog tomorrow as well at 9 a.m. Peter's on at 1 p.m. And I don't know if there's a Donversations. I'll have to ask Don.
Glad to see you didn't forget to bring Don up again.
Of course. Speaking of Don, have you seen the messages?
Yes, I gave it a thumbs up.
Oh, did you?
Yes.
I didn't see that. Okay.
Yes.
We're continuing our filming of the next Comic Sans installation. Installation? And,
yeah, sounds about right.
And Jeff is going to have a little part in the movie. Actually, a really cool part. I'm really looking forward to this. Okay. And I think that's everything. Knock 'em Dead Comedy. Don't forget, knockemdeadcomedy.com. Nothing, right?
Nope.
Nothing. All right, well, if I don't see you tomorrow here, we'll see you Monday.
Yes, indeed. We'll be back Monday.
Which is back on Monday, which is now, I think, back to a Tylerless show.
Tylerless. Not tireless, but Tyler.
Tylerless. That's what I said.
No,
that's what I meant to say.
I know. I was just putting a little spin on it.
Oh, thanks.
No tie.
All right.
We'll text him, though, and break his chops.
Maybe we'll do that on Monday. Maybe we'll call him. I don't know if he can answer the phone while he's at work.
Depends what he's doing.
Yeah, we'll try.
Yeah.
There's Beansy. Beansy, you're just in time. We're leaving. Okay. I think that's everything. Closest I came to a beetle was in my basement, says Rusiello. He's making fun of me because I keep talking about his basement, and he doesn't have one. He's got women locked up in a vault somewhere. I'm positive of it. Oh, all right. Before we go, actually, I did forget some stuff. All right. So the reason I can't go August 1st, the reason I can't go August 2nd, is because I will be at the Belmore Showplace on August 2nd for a performance of A Bronx Tale. Now, the reason I'm going to this is because there's going to be 7 performances between August 1st and August 10th. All the proceeds to all 7 shows are going to the Nassau County PAL Special Needs Unit.
Nice.
And they're saying on August 2nd...
Oh, it is with Chaz, huh?
Well, that's the thing. That's what I don't understand. Well, first off, so apparently before each performance is a recorded audio message from Chaz, where he supposedly mentions the Nassau County PAL Special Needs Unit. So I'm very excited about that. But on August 2nd only, they're having what's called a talkback with Chaz. I have no idea what a talkback is. I don't know if that means a Q&A. I don't know if that means a pre-recorded video, after the show, or maybe he's on Zoom and he's taking questions, or he's just going to say something quickly.
That's how I'm taking it.
That's my guess.
Yeah.
But this Wednesday, July 16th, so this is being put on by a theater group called The Lighthouse. One of the guys involved with Lighthouse, who's also in this production of A Bronx Tale, his name is Tony Sciafallo. He will be here on Wednesday's show. So he's going to explain all of this. Sorry. Elio called me last week. He thought that was hilarious when I burped after your song.
Oh, my song?
So this Wednesday, Tony will be here to explain all of this, and we'll get all the info. But, so you have plenty of opportunities to see both May's art exhibition and A Bronx Tale. So please do so. It's going to a very good cause. And another good cause is my wallet. October 4th, ladies and gentlemen, right here in the Giggle Room, Tony Walker and Friends. Put together by Gov's Comedy Club Podcast, which basically means me and Don are producing this show. Don called it that, by the way. I did not. He made the poster, and I had no idea that's what he was calling it until I saw the poster. But there you go. Tony Walker and Friends. What?
It's not Tony Miller?
It's not Tony Miller, no. For once.
Yeah.
Joe Pacino, Alec Quinn, and Mike Pachetti will be headlining. This is going to be a fun show. We also added, I got to get their names, and my apologies. They did one of our other shows, these twin brothers out of Staten Island. They're actually hilarious, but they're so good that I forget their names. My apologies, but we've added them to the show as well. So go to govs.com and please come to this show.
Going to need a poster update.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, I should add them on.
Don't want to feel them slighted.
Don and I don't want to pay the comedians out of our pockets, so please come to this show so we can pay them without losing money. That would be great. Govs.com, ladies and gentlemen, and that's everything. All right, so don't forget, once again, tonight at 6:30 is Recipe for Laughter, and 8 o'clock, Primal Scream at Nick Greystone and Diane Franklin. All right, so everybody enjoy your day, and we'll see you then. And thank you, guys. Thank you, May
man.
Pang.
Thank you.
All right, I'm done talking. Goodbye.